All right, here I am at 104 Q104 in Campbellsville, Kentucky. It's pretty cool, man. I am pretty excited, man. We got we're running some wattage out there, and this is gonna be fun. I haven't done an interview for a long time, and I thank everybody for tuning in today. I'm not sure what's gonna happen. I know I'm gonna play a song from my mom called Rockabye. Which was probably one of the last songs that we ever wrote together. So that's going to be cool. And we'll just be talking about whatever they want to talk about. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I'm going to head in now, and we'll see what this is all about. I'm excited. Woo! Can you tell? All right. Here we are, folks, at WCQK, WTCO, and WGRK. Pretty cool, man. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous, so here we go. We are memorized.
Well, good morning, everybody. It is 9:19, and welcome to People You Should Know on Q104, brought to you this morning by Brothers Barbecue, Bank of Columbia, Rusty River Clothing Company in Summersville, Duo Broadband, Hospital South of Green River, the Taylor County, Kentucky Farm Bureau Office, Jackie Willis Denton, Exit Realty Bluegrass, and Stacy Harden Hubbard, PLLC. My guest today is someone that I actually physically just met, although we've been texting and talking for a little while now. But he's here today. Made his first band at the age of 12 years old in Nashville. Has toured with several great bands. Diet of Worms in 1996 to 2004. Toured with Godhead. Also, more Switchblade Symphony, North America, and many other people. His resume reads like a good small novel. We're going to get to the bottom of all of the questions we have today, but I am pleased to welcome Damon Janaya. Damon, what is up, my man? How are you?
Good morning, Campbellsville.
Appreciate you being here today.
I appreciate being here. Thank you for having me.
I wouldn't know you at all except for the fact that I was going down the hallway and my office is next to Daniel Leathers. And Daniel's like, come here, I want you to hear something. And so we came in and started playing some of your music. And then each day for about a month, whatever, there would be some new track he would find in a variety of genres. And he would play that. And even this morning, he played a very moving country-sounding song. But I've literally heard you sing every genre imaginable. So.
Thank you for listening. I feel honored to be here. You know, Daniel's been a really great proponent in kind of re-kickstarting my original thing. You know, I've been playing covers for years. I'm kind of getting back into my original, and Daniel has really helped a lot with that.
I'm going to move the mic in just a little higher here so everybody can hear.
All right, it's early morning there.
Yeah, you're totally cool. You were telling me just off the air a moment ago kind of how music started for you and the relationship that you have with your mom. Tell me about that.
Well, my mom, I come from I guess a two-generation musical family. My grandmother actually started it. She was a jazz singer in Boston in the 50s and 60s. And then my mom was a country and western singer in Nashville and in California during the 70s and early 80s. My sister was a pop singer, or is a pop singer now in Orlando, Florida. And she continues to write. She just did a play there, sold out play for 4 days, I believe. And my nieces are carrying on the torch, and they're songwriters themselves. I literally was born on a stage. My mom had to work up until her 9th month of pregnancy in the high desert of California, and she was in a rousing rendition of Rocky Top.
Oh, wow.
When her water broke, and
Goodness gracious.
It was near 29 Palms Marine Base, so the Marines there treated it like a military operation. They got my mom into a military helicopter, and I was born somewhere high over the desert, and I came out in Palm Springs, California, and from that point on, my mom continued to play. And back in the wild and rough 70s and 80s, babysitters weren't really a thing, so she would set up my playpen behind the back line. And I remember my earliest memories being, what does Fender mean? What's baby mean? And eventually I crawled out of there, and my mom tugged on my mom's skirt. She handed the microphone down to me, and we did I believe it was a Marty Robbins song, El Paso.
Yeah, big hit for him.
And that was my introduction to music, and from that point on, it's just been a love affair, you know. And it's part of me, it's part of my blood, and you know, I'm honoring my mom. She passed away May 19th of vascular dementia, and you know, we had a lot of amazing times on the road. She moved a lot, we both moved a lot, and just had some really great experiences. And music is, I'm a lifer, as they say in the business, you know, and that's it in 50 words or less, I suppose.
Yeah, and you're so comfortable in your skin. It's the first thing that I observe about you when you walk in, when people observe. That's why you do this segment called People You Should Know, because you've been through a lot. You definitely have the probably the life experience from everything I've heard and some of the stuff that I already know. You know, you could write a book about your life so far.
I've actually written 2 books so far.
Oh, there you go.
I'm working on, well, my first book was a throwaway. I've been writing poetry since I was a kid. You know, a lot of times being on the road, my mom, we were often homeless, you know, it was just me and my mom, so she struggled a lot. And, you know, we were, you know, sleeping in our car. You know, I was constantly jotting, you know, my angsty feelings down on paper. And my wife put all of it together. You know, she's the organizer, and she said, "You need to do something with all of this." And lit a fire under me, and I spent, you know, the better part of 2021 compiling all of, you know, this work that I've been working on since I was 9 years old. It's called Anarchist Poems, and it's available for sale online. You can get it on earthstonespirit.com, which is my domain. And I'm real proud of that one. And then it kept the juices going, and I wrote a book of fiction called American Family Ultra. And that one is just kind of like, I just wanted to, I've never written fiction before, so I wanted to kind of get my feet wet with that. And, you know, I've been watching a lot of Criminal Minds for years, and it's kind of in that vein. You know, there's a lot of cliffhangers and intense moments, and, you know, it's about a family who were all CIA agents during the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, you know, 2 generations. And just all the things that they witnessed and experienced during, you know, the rock and roll explosion, and their part, you know, in it, you know, through COINTELPRO and things like that. And I just kept writing and writing and writing and writing, and it's 293 pages.
That's a lot of therapy right there. You save money on therapy.
A lot of therapy. And my next book, everybody tells me I should write a life story, but, you know, where do I begin? You know,
well, your life's not over yet.
It's not over yet, yeah. So.
And that's cool. And one of the things that fascinates me, other than the diversity of your talent and your skill, because I've listened to a lot of stuff in recent weeks, we're actually going to hear something in just a moment. I'm even going to tell you what I'm going to play.
Oh,
I've got
boy.
something queued up here in a bit. And then you're going to do some live songs today. But the fact that at your age and the places you've been geographically, you also have gone through music in a time when technology has been a complete game changer, both in good ways and in destructive ways, because, you know, you and I grew up listening to records and buying them,
And
supporting
tapes.
artists.
Yep.
And now, of course, if you're an artist and you're trying to be an up-and-comer, as I've got some friends that are currently down in Nashville trying to do that, well, you know, now you've got to worry about the whole world getting TikTok and Instagram, social media likes, and that's like another creature. It's like another bear. And to think that there was a period of time when musicians could solely work on their craft and not have to be worried about marketing and imaging.
Well, you know, when I entered the music business as a professional, you know, I mean, I've always been doing music. You know, when I was younger, I would enter talent contests and things like that. But when I really started to try to get a record deal for myself, it was, you know, around 98, 99 is, you know, when I was a younger man, you know, in my early 20s. And what I was getting was a lot of, you know, the downloading thing, the Napster thing, how many downloads can you get? And, you know, having kind of been a hybrid and seeing a lot of my older friends, you know, break in and get these amazing deals and have tour buses and things like that, I found it really hard to get credibility or even get a record deal for my own music, because they wanted not only to be compared to, like, other popular bands at the time that we didn't fit the genre, which was very narrow, but it was how many downloads do you have, things like that, and that began right when I entered. So I'm a stagehand. Our way in was to become a production company for headliners. So we drove the bus. We did all the sound, we helped them with catering, we did the running, and we also got an opening spot on their tour. Yeah. And that's kind of how I was getting in one way or another, man.
And let's talk a little bit about your tour resume, because you were playing festivals with Wasp, Living Colour, Megadeth, opened for Judas Priest. Those are serious rock and roll artists right there, man.
I was in a band called Sabotage. They were the ones that gave me my my large break. I had been, you had mentioned Diet of Worms. That was my, at the time, I don't even know what to call it. We were trying to bring back the 80s disco kind of thing. And at the time, bands like Limp Bizkit and Korn were ruling the airwaves, which I love, but at the time, they were our bane, because we consider ourselves nerd rock, and we wanted to bring out, fun and stuff, and everybody was getting really heavy about their content. And that was, another thing that we came up against with the music industry was, well, your stuff is a little light and a little airy, and it wasn't that it was poppy, it was just musically uplifting.
It's funny that period of time, because I was here, the Q104 has always been kind of the non-country station. So whatever music is popular, that's what we play. But we've gone through all these different, metamorphoses. So that early period of 90s, about the time Stain was starting top 40 hits and some of those bands, it just got so introspective and dark. And I don't want to take away, because there are people that they look back on 3 Days Grace and some of those bands, and they go, that's my jam.
Yeah, I love
Chris Cornell, all that stuff. But it was very introspective.
Yeah, I just didn't want to compete against them. I love them now. Now that I have some, more character, I guess, as far as living. But at the time, it was tough to have people tell you, well, you're not depressed enough. You're not angry enough. And
then the world embraced that, and then we went straight to the boy band, girl band thing, and then from there, hip hop had its most successful run on mainstream top 40 radio. So things are just, the ebb and tide is always changing.
And I was backwards, because I went out, I grew up country. My mom was a country and western performer. And then I went into hip hop. As soon as I heard hip hop in the early 80s, I was, and punk rock. And it was simply from a lyrical standpoint. I loved how much content they could fit into one verse. If you listen to the early hip hop, they could tell an entire story in one verse. Or early punk, it was, very fast paced, stuff like that. So I always love a good story, and I definitely like a lot of content in music. And it definitely changed from that to just hooks, and things like that, and selling a song based on things that sort of repeat, instead of content, it became quantity, over quality, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, let's hear something right now, and then you'll find out which song I'm going to play whenever I hit the play button, and then we'll talk about it. But right now, some music from Damon Janai is our guest today on People You Should Know. I hope it's okay that I'm playing this, because I'm playing it.
Totally legal.
So you had a change in heart, 'cause you found somebody new. You tore my world apart. You said I'd better find somebody to said you took my love, but you left no memory.
Yeah, your production's awesome, dude.
Wow. Yeah.
That's always the, really, yeah.
Literally.
Your production is solid. Because that's the thing that I've heard so many. When I started here, we were still listening to records one at a time and doing the Gavin reports and the Billboard reports. But I'm like, production was crap. I was kind of like, I don't know. But
yeah, I was literally born with no hearing, so a lot of the
wow.
I've had 9 operations on my ears.
Yeah.
The way I do it is by turning it down, so the frequencies that pop out, the ones that I feel.
Yeah.
And then when when I turn it up, I get this, you know.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, your pitch is just like, gosh, awesome, solid. You know, so you have to liberate a little bit with conversations, and
what's that?
you have to liberate with conversations.
I read lists.
Yeah, yeah,
And I feel like, right, you know, my mom wrote me child flashcards. She didn't know how to
Okay.
do that, but
Yeah.
you know, she wanted to make a little genius, you know,
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
child. And that actually helped me to learn how to communicate because I, you know,
Yeah.
my hearing problem wasn't discovered until about 3 or 4.
Yeah. Man, like your intonation is just so solid, and your speech is incredible. You know, because I've been around a lot of hearing impaired people.
Yeah. Well, my mom was absolutely a speech aficionado. If I didn't speak correctly, she would, you know.
Yeah, back it up, back it up.
She wanted to, you know, she wanted me to speak properly, you know, and no
Yeah.
slang, you know, no slang was allowed. And this is the late Matt LaPorte. He's a guitar genius that worked with John Oliva, who was the singer for Sabaton for years, and he passed away in 2010 of drug overdose, sadly. But one of the greatest guitar players ever.
Yeah, that's so good.
He died so young. One of the many underrated musicians out there that the world too soon. You know.
So is this a Sabotage recording, or?
No, this was actually a recording that was contracted by another writer who hired me and Punchy, my counterpart, to write an album for him, basically.
Yeah.
And so we did. You know, we wrote the album. We got you know, credit on the album. We registered it, but he got, you know, kind of the glory. It was Montgomery and his Guns.
Oh, okay.
It was basically Diet of Worms, playing, you know, we were an industrial band playing country
Playing in.
and writing songs.
Music from Damon Shania there. The song is called If My Heart Wasn't Breaking. And Damon is hanging out with me in the studios today as my guest on People You Should Know. Incredible. I played that song for two reasons. One, I like it. Two, it is one that Daniel had already uploaded into my system, so I knew it was there. So there you go. Tell me about the song.
Well, it was a piece that was commissioned by a guy in Florida where I lived, and he wanted his own country record, you know, and he had some poems and things like that, and he came into our studio, Diet of Worms studio, and you know, we kind of came together and with his poetry and composed a country record for him. With our industrial hard rock band, and we created 9 songs, and even John Oliva, you know, from Sabotage was involved in a few of them. We had him sing on a few of them. You know, we were fully commissioned, got paid very well, but a lot of the people from that session aren't with us anymore, so it kind of plays a little soft spot in my heart, you know, to go back and listen to those songs. At the time, it was a little frantic recording it, you know, just because of what everybody was into, you know, at the time. But I go back now, 20 years later, and you know, those songs have a lot of heart and soul that
they live on.
weren't expected at the time, because, you know, at the time it was a job.
You're doing a job, and you're not thinking about the trajectory of where that music's going to go or what it's going to bring back and emotion, which is, you know, what music does. I mean, it takes you there, it takes you back. That's why so many people have songs that they identify with from different points in their life.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to actually hear some live stuff here in just a moment. I'm going to give you time to get your guitar out. We'll take a commercial break. And then, of course, I'll eventually answer the question all of you are wondering, what are you doing in Campbellsville, Kentucky, Damon? We're going to answer that a little bit later on this hour. You're listening to People You Should Know on Q104.
Thank you.
This summer, I'm out here to start turning friends away. Look at I'm ready. And our extraordinary members. Good times are waiting. It's fun to be you, so get crazy. Because the book is more fun. Yeah, it's awesome. With Boat RV launched on Abound, unlock the possibilities at AboundCU.com. You're federally insured by NCUA. Equal opportunity lender.
How long does it take to take a look?
Thank you. It feels great, man.
Good. Is there anything you want me to steer into, or is there something you want me to ask you, whatever? Or are we doing okay?
We're
Or
doing great.
yeah, I don't want you to feel like I'm too ethereal or whatever. So.
No, thank you. I mean, everything you're asking is wonderful. You know, if you want to dig deeper, by all means, I have no secrets.
Yeah, I understand.
I go to sleep, you know, if I head hits a pillow and I go to sleep, so I got no guilt, you know, no caffeine
Dude,
guilt.
if more people could just lean into that, you know what I'm saying? Like it's.
Honesty.
And now I don't even know. I promised when I got to be this age that I wouldn't be the guy that like is, I don't know, sarcastic or that I would look down on current generations of youth, and I don't. But at the same time, I wonder how they're managing that. You know, when you and I grew up, we didn't have to protect our image. We didn't feel the necessity to. How do I look right now?
Yeah. If anything, it was, you know, making your...
People having to market themselves.
Yeah, it was none of that. It was being yourself.
It was being yourself, yes. So.
People really got off on each other. Now they get off on technology. You know, people would really pay attention to people and their special quotes and things. That made people special back in my time.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like an old guy saying this, but you know, now people are looking at their cell phone expecting humanity to live up to technology. And there's just no way that's going to happen.
And they think they're connected, and they're not. You know what I mean? They're like,
It's a
you're
huge
not.
divide, and I can't help but think of like Terminator 2 and things like that.
Yeah, no, I think the same thing. It's like,
Technology's taking over.
I deal with, I mean, we do a lot of it. We use that technology here, obviously, but
Well, it's part of our
Part of our-
lexicon.
yeah, it is.
World.
Go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com.
And I used to program, that was one of my first jobs, was actually building websites for people in
Okay.
the 90s. And I would find, you know, people that were, you know, wallflowers or, you know,
Yeah.
people that had no, you know,
Presence.
skills. And within a month of having their own online presence, turned into the biggest ego media. You know, so I see that with Facebook. You know, people are able to have their thoughts and their ideas liked or disliked, and they all become critics. And
well, I'll take it a step farther. So there's an artist in country that I really, really like what he does locally, and I love his writing. Just amazing. And so I went out. I was literally the P1 fan, man. I was buying every record, you know. And then he created a social media presence. And I got on. I was like, well, I'm going to follow him, you know. Like, I was
right?
like, this guy's a dick. He's not a kind person. He's not. And I can't listen to the music now. And I'm like, what, you know? And I actually got bold. I actually reached out and just said, hey, man, what's the discrepancy here? Because the art you're creating is beautiful, but it's not, you know, so I still struggle with it. Welcome back. You're listening to People You Should Know. I am Rob Collinsville. My guest today is Damon Janaya, who is an incredible musician, but I think moreover an incredible guy. Such a transparent heart, honesty. I think you're honest to a fault, my man.
Well, it keeps me, it allows me to go to sleep right away at night. So thank you very much.
And it will take that for advice if you're struggling to find peace in your life. Why not just find peace with yourself, you know, and just be honest and you know, I don't know, we live in an Instagram world where we're, you know, we're talking off here about people work so hard to prove something, but really just true reflection and living day by day is what it's all about.
I like my flaws.
Yeah, there you go. Your flaws are what make you, right? You got a guitar. Guitar playing is not a flaw for you, but you've written a song. You were telling me a little bit about it when you got here in the building. Tell everyone about this song.
It's a song called Rockabye. As I spoke with earlier, my mom passed last month, and this was the one of the last songs that we wrote together. I was about 14 years old, and we wrote a lot of songs back then before she became into the corporate world. And it's a song that's I'm gonna try to get through without crying, but
Here you are, buddy.
it was you know, it was a big part of my growing up, and you know, I think of her every time I sing it. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to play it.
Sure. Anytime you're ready, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
If I gave it my all, then that was all I had. If I did my best, you know I did not do half bad. But
I trade my love for freedom. Freedom is what I love. You don't live like you love, you live a lie. You don't rise up off the ground, you never fly. You don't miss me when I'm gone, honey, I won't say goodbye. I'll just rock it by. I'll just rock it by. I'll just rock it by. Rock my blues away. You sing from your heart, you know you'll always sing in tune. If you win from the start, you know that you can never lose. But if you trade your love for freedom, then freedom is what you love. You don't live like you love, you live a lie. You don't rise up off the ground, you never fly. You don't miss me when I'm gone, honey, I won't say goodbye. I'll just rock it by. I'll just rock it by. I'll just rock it by. Rock my blues away. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll rock my blues away. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll rock my blues away. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll rock my blues away.
Wow. Man, beautiful, beautiful. What a wonderful tribute to a wonderful lady.
Thank you, man.
Who, no doubt, is just a huge part of who you are and who you'll continue to be, and you know, who you'll pass the good stuff along to. So there you go. We were talking about trajectory philosophically a little while ago, and I was telling you a story about a friend of mine here in town who introduced me to this nice couple, and they were drinking coffee at our local coffee house, Arden Coffee, and I kept singing them all the time. And then a little bit later on, he just kind of casually mentioned a month later, he goes, "Do you remember this band that was really popular in Christian music like back in the 80s, whatever?" I was like, "Oh yeah, back when I lived in Louisville, I sold a lot of it." He goes, "Yeah, that's actually them. They're just doing a different thing now, so they're here." And I'm not mentioning the names because I want to protect, you know, their identities and let them just be who they are in the moment. So somebody with a resume like you, how do you wind up in Campbellsville, Kentucky? So that's a question that we all want to know.
Well, family. My wife of 14 years, her family, she grew up here in Campbellsville, the Squires family. And,
Yeah.
they are wonderful, wonderful people, great in-laws, Most people complain about their in-laws. I got the coolest family in the world.
That's cool.
We were in Florida, and my calendar was booked. I was in a cover band for about 10 years there. Originals really don't make much money anymore, so I was having, I was doing 4 hours a night, 6 nights a week, and had a full dance card until St. Patty's Day 2020. We had a huge festival booked, and boom, they closed all the bars.
Yeah.
COVID, like,
Shut everything down.
got a call. I'm sorry, your giant event is done, and so like many of us, we all sat at home pondering our existences and collecting money and staying safe,
Yeah.
and we got to I think grow mentally, with our spouses and our children. And some people came together, and some people fell apart during that time. And my wife and I get along famously, and her mother actually lives in Louisville.
Okay.
And we were, like everybody else, were glued to the news and seeing, the unrest that was going on, with all the different movements that were happening, and the riots and the crime and the, George Floyd and, all of that. And my mother-in-law was living at the Omni downtown Louisville.
Okay, yeah.
And the Breonna Taylor, I believe.
Breonna, yeah.
And there's been so many. That whole situation
was going on then, especially in the downtown area. Yeah.
And she was literally giving us a play-by-play while we were in Florida of helicopters. She was on the 25th floor. So helicopters were literally swooping down on the streets, and she looked out her balcony, and there's a helicopter outside her window. Down below, there were firebombing, and there were shootings going on during this time. We're in Florida. There's no work. We're not. I am hyperactive as it gets. So sitting around, worrying about catching, a disease was just not something that I was really enjoying. And not to mention, my wife and I were petrified for our mother, and so we decided that, we were going to leave the security of Florida to go to Louisville to temporarily to go and help, my mother-in-law, her mother, to transition from the Omni over to Norton Commons, where she'd be safe. And so we did just that. And so we ended up going to Norton Commons and staying with her mother for a while, and that was a wonderful community. I still play there. I'm playing there this month.
Oh, that's wonderful, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll pitch that later, but if that's okay. And so everything was doing, fine. It's just that Louisville, even in Norton Commons, as long as we were in Norton Commons, we were safe, because it was kind of a backlot community, and everybody there, protected each other. It was kind of away from the urban problems. So, but anytime we went to, any other part of the city, it was pretty obviously, in decline, dumpsters burning, riots, going on.
It was definitely a long season of unrest.
Yeah,
sure.
looting, I saw it all, and I just felt like it was not a safe place for my wife and I to be. Anything can happen to anybody, anywhere, but
sure.
When you see it all around you, it makes you afraid to go to your local 7-Eleven. Those here, but your local magic market or whatever, and without fear, being a victim of a crime. So my wife and I decided to come to Campbellsville, to which we've been visiting. She grew up here. I visited over our 14-year relationship on holidays, and fell in love with it here. It's a beautiful community of very kind people, hardworking people. Everybody. That I met outside of my family, just it's a agricultural, it's all different types of people here, and it was like a light bulb that went off. Not only are we removed from all of the urban decay, we're 100 miles from everything, basically, but the people here are wonderful, and so that brought us to Campbellsville, and but. Once we got here, there's not really a lot of gainful employment for a musician here. So, called everybody, went to the local music store, was completely shot down, and basically told to just, what are you doing here? You should move away. And being the stubborn, Sagittarius that I am, we're staying, and we work locally, and and deliver here locally, and that also gives me the opportunity to meet our greater community at large, being a delivery driver, and I love the weather, I love the people, I love our house, and
I love the peace that you have and that she has, that you can be thriving, successful, and healthy in whatever environment you're in. Because so many people, if they're only going to filter you through the music, they're going to be like, well, he's not in Los Angeles, he's not in Atlanta, he's not in Nashville right now, so things must not be going well. And you can be a lot of different places and still live in that season of just gratitude. And so that speaks volumes about what kind of person you are. So.
Thank you. Well, I've lived in all those places that you mentioned. I lived in London for a while, and I've lived all over the world. And I look for heart in people, and you know, it exists in the bigger cities, but also a lot of crime and a lack of
Distractions, yeah.
distraction and a lack of sincerity. And I guess that's, if I could sum Campbellsville up into one word, it would be it's a very sincere place. Probably the most sincere place I've ever lived.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes we're sincerely wrong, but we're sincere.
But honest.
But people take care of people here, though. They really do. Yeah.
They do.
It's what has kept me here for sure.
Yeah.
'Cause
And I don't ever feel like
a
I'm
long
being
time
lied
ago.
to here, you know, at all.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like everybody's going to tell me the truth whether I like it or not, and that's how I am. So I feel like I've found a tribe that, you know, accepts me, and I accept, you know, living here. It's a good amalgamation.
Yeah. Well, I'm very grateful to meet you today. I want you to give the plug about where you're going to be playing next.
Okay.
Because believe it or not, it doesn't take long for an hour to go by, and
Wow.
we're almost there. I know, right? We've been having a good time. But you said you were going to be heading back up to Louisville to play soon. So.
Yes, sir. I play Norton Commons because the safest place in Louisville. On the 17th of this month, I'll be playing Caroms. It's an Irish bar right in the heart of Norton Commons. And that starts at 8 p.m. to 1. And then Gustavos, which is right across the block, is one of the best Mexican food restaurants. Of course, I'm biased because they hire me, but they really do. They have great food, great staff, and I'm playing there on the 25th. And that's an outside gig starting at 6 p.m. for happy hour. And I'm a one-man band. I play guitar, piano, do my own beats. So when you come to see me, you know, expect the big band sound with, you know, just one little guy up there, you know, trying to make it all happen. And it comes together pretty well because you know, it's a large variety, everything from Prince to Dwight Yoakam.
That is a variety.
Rage Against
yeah.
the Machine to Righteous Brothers, and you know, everything in between. So,
Yeah, it's music, man. It's
Yeah.
good American music. And speaking of music, whether they're looking for the band Sabotage or whether they're looking for some of your solo stuff, what's the best way people can discover and find your music online?
www.earthstonespirit.com. That's my own domain, and it's kind of if you go there, you'll just see buttons. You can buy my book. You can. I stream live every day, so the first thing you'll see is, you know, my streaming channel, and you know, it's really the best place to find anything that you want to find out about me or about, you know, what I'm doing. And you know, thank you. Please visit me. I'm very lonely there.
Yeah, please do. I will put that link on the photos. If you're stalking me today on Q104 Facebook or Insta, that information will be there. So. You're awesome, man. We're going to be friends forever.
Well, thank you. I
Good
appreciate
deal.
it.
I meet people and I just go, what an interesting person. You know, some people mine for gold and some people mine for dollars, and I'm always looking for people with hearts. And yours beats large.
I seek enlightenment.
Yeah, there you go. And, we are brothers, and I'm also a Sagittarius, by the way. When's your birthday?
December 16th.
Okay, well, like November 28th. But,
Oh, cool.
You know, as the moon flies.
So you're the wild Sagittarian.
You have no idea.
I can see in your eyes.
Yeah, you can see it. I'm all eyed and mystified. Damon John has been my guest today on People You Should Know. Thanks again to our sponsors today. Brothers Barbecue, Bank of Columbia, Rusty River Clothing, Duo Broadband, Hospice Health, and Farm Bureau. I want to say congratulations to our birthday winners today. They are for today, Eva Bledsoe, Grant Renfro, the winner for Saturday the 11th, and Joey Bagby was the winner for Sunday the 12th, our anniversary winner. Todd and Olivia Richards, congratulations on 27 years of incredible adventures. May there be many more to come. Back in just a bit, and then we'll transition into some more great music in just a few.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late.
Thanks.
Traffic is terrible.
Well, boy, I'm at,
On top of that, gas prices
Yeah.
are skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas is.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
That was cool.